Hello and welcome to my retired life. Yes, today I was supposed to be undercover on a picnic table, but they were all being used. So I'm undercover on an umbrella and we're going for a little walk. So we're going to combine a little bit of exercise and a little bit of information on retirement. Now, the thing that I'm going to talk about today is I saw an article, and this article was about retirees that have to go back to work just to make ends meet. So what it said was 20%, or 1 in 5, so check your neighbors out, are going back to work because they have to. Now, some of the reasons that they said are inflation, cost of goods, and the cost of goods being groceries up 10%, 20%, 30% on some. Gasoline doubled. Heating doubled. Taxes, property taxes are up. Everything is up. Now, before we get into those going up, and I won't really touch much more on those, but the reason things are going up is inflation. Now, don't let the government tell you that inflation is coming down. It did for 1 month or 2 months, but it's down from an already high inflation rate. So it hasn't recovered back from COVID yet. Not even close. They're using COVID still to keep prices inflated. Eggs doubled. Lettuce, a head of lettuce is ridiculous. Beef, my God, beef. And this all has to do with political stuff, influence. Taxes, in Canada, we have a thing called carbon tax. Because our Prime Minister, in his stupidity, in my opinion, decided that if you tax Canadians for everything, or put a carbon tax on it, it's just like adding a tax. He calls it price on pollution, but it's a tax. So he puts a tax on things like you go out and buy a chocolate bar. Let's say you're buying a chocolate. No, let's not do that. Let's go back to the vegetable. Chocolate bars are bad, too much sugar. So let's go back and say we're talking about the tax of that chocolate, of that head of lettuce. Why do I have chocolate on my mind? Anyway, the tax on the head of lettuce. Now, the tax is compounded taxed, so it's really, really unfair. First, they tax the farmer on the gasoline that he uses to plow the fields for corn, say. So they tax the farmer. Then it gets delivered by truck to the grocery store or to the processing plant. They tax the gas on that. Then what happens is, from the processing plant, it goes to the grocer. Grocer throws on his 1 or 2% profit on the head of lettuce or whatever the product is. On those, each one of those steps, that carbon tax is put on there. And you wonder why inflation is up, or why cost of living is up. And I'll give you the number one reason why people are going back a little further in this video, so stay tuned. So the inflation rate, even though it was 2.9, say this month, it was still at 14%. So you're down to 11% still. You're not down to 2.9 on everything. No. So the inflation rate has a lot to do with that. Your cost of living has gone up. Again, in Canada and even in the United States, although they're not taxed as bad, your heating tax on your home, your water tax, like these things have all gone up 15-20%. Now, I know your investments aren't going up that high unless you're in high risk stuff, and then it goes up and down. So to combat that, If you're older and you've got some ailments, then I suggest that you maybe downsize, so you don't have to go back to work and you can still enjoy your lifestyle. By doing that, you probably don't have to look after your house anymore. You go into an apartment or a condo or something, that's all looked after. You do not have to do any of that anymore. And those all have costs. New roof, 20 grand. New fridge, 2 grand. Plumbing leak, 1,500 bucks. Those are all costs, real costs. So if you downsize, you can cut those costs and stop you from going to the back to work. Those are all real costs, and unfortunately you can't control that other than voting, and hopefully whoever gets in decides that, you know, that is an important thing to do, is bring down inflation and cost of living. But that's political, and I don't want to get into that. Now another one is, and one of the reasons they're going back is they just don't have disposable income anymore because of the cost going up. When you retired, you had some disposable, most people had a disposable income. And that's gone. It's withered away with the inflation and the cost of everything going up. And there's lots of reasons why it did. COVID played effect. Canada, the carbon taxes played effect. There's a lot of influence there. Now, but the number one reason, and this is I alluded to earlier, that I would speak about it, the number one reason that people are going back to work is survival. Yeah, it's not that they can't afford it and they've cut down their lifestyle. It's survival. They need to go back to work. They need the money to pay these things or do these things. Now, could they have eliminated some of these things? Yeah. If you didn't need to buy a new car and the old one was fine, you know, there's $400 or $500 payments. You know, there's lots of different things that cause you to have to go back to work. But there's a lot of people do it just to survive. You know, their health benefits aren't as good as they thought they were. They thought their, you know, their health insurance is going up and up and up. Insurance on a house is going up and up and up. So people are going back, and the number one reason is survival. And I'd hate to see anybody in that situation. Now, a couple tips to avoid survival is start investing early. Go to a registered financial advisor. Now, this is where I have to go for a spiel. It's kind of a sun shower now. Anyway, go to a registered financial advisor. If there's any young people watching at this point, please, 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 when you go and you get paid, take 10 to 20%, 10 to 20%, and put it into investments. Especially if you're, you know, and I know it's hard for young people because they want to buy the latest and greatest, but if you're still here at this point in the video, invest 10 to 20% of your take-home pay. Don't even touch it. Put it into an investment, and once that investment compounds, your retirement will be good. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm sure with compound interest and you putting that money in there that's already had taxes on it, put it in there, and then once you get a little bit of money in there, you can diverse a little bit. You could put some into some dividend stocks, which pay you a little, but I'd save that for a little later when you have more money. That's just me. Again, not a financial advisor, just what I did. Or put it in Canada, we have tax-free savings account. Put it into a interest-bearing account. Your advisor will tell you what to do with it. But do it every month or every time you get paid. Even if it's $20. $20, $20, $20, $20 if you get paid weekly. That's $40 a month. It's $400 a year, $480 a year to be precise. No, $440 a year. Yeah, $440 a year. You do that and you compound it. And as you make more, you put more in. If you keep with that strategy, you will have a half decent self-made pension. Now you throw on top of that a company pension, things like that, you'll be fine. Or it'll help anyway. And you won't have to go back. That's just my 2 cents, my financial 2 cents worth. That's what I did, and that's what I told my son to do, and it worked. My son's an engineer. When he put 10 to, but he started when he was working part-time, still going to school. He would get paid $80, he'd put $8 in an account. Right now, I think he said he was, you know, like $500,000 into it, 40 years old. That alone can make it a retirement if it's invested properly. So that's the one piece of advice that I would give people that are young, that are still here. Put 10 to 20% in. And that's just with 10%. So that's about it for this video. But the number one reason people have to go back is survival. Sad, but it's true. Hopefully you're not one of those, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of insight as to how. Like, I don't have all the answers. If you have answers on how you can save money for retired people so they don't have to go back to work, put it in the comments. Those comments work really well. You know, people read those comments and go, hey, I could do that. Just a thought. Let's call this one done. Oh, wait. Okay, let's see if I could do this. Check out this video or that video, because YouTube wants you to, and I want you to. And let's call this one done.